Hello, everyone, to the Creator Metaphysical Store. So today I'm doing a double live stream because I just felt really drawn to do one with Instagram and with my YouTube channel. Um, so honestly, I've been like going through a lot of so like my mind is like, okay, my mind and my body are like, okay, we just released all this negative programming that was both projected on me as a child and through religion. And it's kind of like there's like this empty void in my head, and it's kind of like, okay, now what? Like what do we add? Since we just took out all this stuff, what do we add? And I can feel that my body and my mind or my consciousness and my emotions, we all agree that every part of me is like, oh, we're not gonna go back at the garbage, like the programming we just got rid of. But it's almost like, okay, like, what do we add? Do we add anything, or should we just leave it blank, you know, to be determined? And I realized something, everyone keeps talking about positive mindset or negative mindset. But I just realized, we go through these ups and downs, these sin waves, the vibrational ups and downs and of life, Even the cosmos goes in and up and down and up and down. Or in this case it'll go left and right simultaneously. So it's like what exactly is like people talk about, oh, you must keep a positive mindset, not be so negative. But in actuality, you can't really say that, because I don't care what the spiritual community says against me, the supernatural, but the truth of the matter is, you're not always 100% positive. You're not 100% loving. You're not 100% caring. Sometimes you get pissed off in the grocery store, and you might be pissed off because this person has like a couple 100,000 groceries, and you're got like a few things, and you're like, oh, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, we are not always 100% positive, loving, and light. I don't care what people say. It just cannot be done, because without light, if there was just light, there's, like, for example, light creates shadow, and that's, you can see that clear as day in nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, guys, I'm like creating this handmade bow. It's more for like representation and to honor like the hunter goddesses, like Artemis and Diana. I'm like making this bow to like, I don't want to say twine. I'm using some sort of weird cord that I just kind of like received from my there was this like dream catcher thing, and it really wasn't like, it looked ratchet as hell. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to like redesign the whole lotus. It looked weird. Let me just say it looked weird. It didn't look great. I didn't like it. I'm gonna do something else with it. So, but yeah, so it's like basically, I realized, why am I lying to myself? Why am I trying to become something that I, at the nature based level, like the primal level, is I am not always gonna be light and love. There are gonna be those moments where I'm gonna be angry, but at the same time, I there's a difference with being light and love and negative and dark, in a sense of like like say if you get angry, right? You can choose whether to let that anger take over your life. Not your life. Let's just say the morning you wake up, right? feeling great, and then as soon as you get out the door, there's problems with your car, and you start getting frustrated. You can choose to let that frustration influence the rest of your day, or you can, I am going to not let this take over my day. Like be the piece of wood in the Buddhist thing. Like you can acknowledge the emotions, right? You can acknowledge these emotions, and they're not really negative because we are very complex human beings, and I don't care what anyone tells you. You are both light and dark. You're not just light and love. Okay, you're gonna have those moments where someone's gonna piss you off, and I had to realize that I am not all light and love, and I've been trying to become something I am not, I guess, because I am both light and darkness, and I need to embrace both sides. And I know this as following like the path of spirit of the goddess Hecate. She shows all sides. I have always seen all sides. Like when I was growing up, my stepfather told me one time that I'm always quiet, and I realized looking back, the reason why I was always so quiet, aspects of like why this person's angry and why that person's happy, like being able to see like all the different facets of life. I've always been able. I'm not sure if this is more fifth dimension, because when I look into the future, I see things from the fifth dimension. But when it comes to like the sixth and the seventh dimension, I kind of I've always been able to see things universally, which is simultaneously going backwards and forwards. Universal, omnipotently seeing it from a omnipotent perspective, and then seeing it from an infinite and eternal. I've always been able to, I don't really know what to call that state of mind, always being able to see all sides. It was really hard for me to like interact with others, because it's like, okay, like how do you want me to respond to what your heart is saying to me, or what your soul is saying to me, or what your mind is saying, or the words coming out of your mouth? Because I can like pick up on that. Like I can pick up on your like vibe of like, okay, you're not really saying that just to stay, you're not really like, that's not like really what you're feeling right now. You're jealous. You know what I'm saying? Or like I can tell that that person is like angry because I got something he wanted. You know, so I can feel that, and that's why it makes it so hard for me to interact with people, because a lot of people can be acting one way, but they're really feeling another way. Autistic, or if it's because I've just been born with these abilities, I don't, hell do I know? And I find it intriguing that, my dream last night was, I was like, it was basically this old castle with this old forest, right? And it was like hold on one second, guys. I just need to focus really calm for a hot minute. Okay. Do this. Don't actually do that twice, so it doesn't. But so as I was saying, I realized we are not light, just light. We are darkness. Like I don't understand, how did we start, like what exactly, who was the person that started that belief and why? Because that's not true. You know, we see that in nature too, because with light, it can create what would be considered darkness, like shade. like from a tree. That's considered darkness because that's a dark element. The shade. You see what I'm saying? The shade from the tree, the shadow that we create, that's darkness. So we technically are not light, shadow. So how exactly are we light and love? And there's a what I'm not discounting. It's good to be loving, it's good to be kind, which yes, put your best foot forward, but at the same time acknowledge that you are, there are going to be those times where like you might need to like be a pillow, or because you can't be a person. I mean, sometimes you know but it's like, I mean, you can beat a person, but because of this day and age, they'll throw you in jail. You know, come on, work with me here. Like trying so hard to like cover this section, and it's not working. Come on. So basically, what I'm really trying to figure out is like, okay, now that this is empty, what do I add? And I am acknowledging the fact that I am both light and I am both dark. And true light, being able to like being true light and love, I think for me, from what I'm always felt, was that when you're able to embrace even the flaws of you as a human being and the flaws of humanity, which is that is like embracing the flaws, as in we all have darkness, we all have the ability to love as well as hate, right? And that's what I mean by loving those flaws. Those are the kind of flaws that I'm talking about. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And so I just been like really trying to figure out, okay, what do what do I add? I'm thinking like as far as what I wanna grow in my own mind, seeing as this is my own consciousness, I wanna grow um to more belief in myself, more belief and trust, faith and confidence in myself, to really grow that. I mean, I have grown that, but I think I can do a lot more better. We are not perfect. I mean, I think it's interesting because a lot of the light and love agenda is all about, to me, how I viewed it looks like you're trying to be the perfect light, when technically, if you look at it, we're not perfect. If you were perfect, there would be no room for evolution. There would be no room for improvement. You'd be just perfect. You feel me? So we always constantly are trying to evolve, trying to adapt. If we became perfect, and say like we humans became perfect and the animals and the trees remained imperfect, we would be, and say if they were not perfect, they would evolve above us, and we would be at the roof, where they would go bust past the roof of what we consider to be perfect, and then devour us. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we can never truly be perfect, because even if we were perfect, we would not be able to evolve and continue to adapt. Therefore, the lion would be the predator and we would be the prey again. You see what I'm saying? Like if we were like perfection, say this is top is perfection. Let's say this top part. You know what? Hold on. It's like I I'm trying to explain this. So, I'm gonna use paper and markers because that's all I got to explain what I am. Sorry about that. To explain, what exactly I'm talking about. Let's say P for perfect. I think it would actually be better if I did this as a ladder concept. So say this is considered, if we were perfect humans, say this is perfect humans, and say from this way down, from here, and this way up is imperfect animals. Right? So, for example, I'm gonna try to rearrange some stuff really quick so like you can understand where I'm coming from. So, I'm gonna try to. I can't really do it. Hold on. Just scoop this up. Scoop that like that. Okay. So say like this is this is where we are. Say this is like the perfect human. Okay. Can you guys see this? So say right here is where we think is the perfect human. And from this part down and from perfect, what we consider to be perfect and up, are imperfect animals. So we would be at a stalemate. We would be like at the roof, right? We would be bumping our heads against the roof of the house, right? But animals who continuously choose to evolve and adapt and become better than they were the other day, they would actually surpass us in evolution. So it's like we can never truly be the perfect human. You feel me? And so I don't know why. I kind of find it interesting that everyone talks. It kind of to me when we talk about light bodies and stuff. To me, there is no way in hell we could achieve that. Yes, we are a carbon-based structure. Yes, and carbon turn into diamond. And yes, I could see that, but that's going to take years and years and years of evolution. But I don't even think we're going to be able to do that because of how our like planet is. It's not the right environment for that, you know. However, I feel that it refers to transmutation of like transmuting. Okay, like like not transmutation of evolution of like consciousness. Like we're gonna be better than our predecessors, et cetera, et cetera. So like I don't know. I'm just trying to consider like what exactly like my questions for the day is okay, what do I but you gotta think of it as though the mind, what is the mind? So it's like consciousness. So it's like So it's like, I'm trying to think, like, if we're consciousness, we identify, we perceive, we understand, and then embody what we understand, right? It's like we identify, then we perceive, then understand, and then embody, right? I think so. So it's like, what do I want to identify? Then how do I want to? Oh, so it'd be like, got it. I got it. Be more of like, what do I want to identify with? How do I want to perceive it? Understanding. What is understanding? What is understand? Let's first answer the first two questions. What do I want to identify with? So I want to identify myself, myself as, not with, as wealthy, wealthy, loving, kind, caring, obviously, more patience, with as someone who's wise and knowledgeable, knowledgeable. Let's see. A loving partner, partner. Partner. A successful business. Serving a successful business, a loving partner, a nice house, and car. Because if I want to both identify emotionally and mentally, but also externally, like, if I was to like say to my friends, oh, I think I have a nice house. So it's like I am identifying that my house is nice, that my car is nice, that I identify that the partner I'm with is very loving, kind, compassionate, caring. So those are things that I want to identify. Now, the other question is, how do I perceive it? Perceive it, both externally and internally. So, if I have identified as being wealthy, how would I perceive myself being wealthy? Well, I guess I would perceive myself as wealthy. So let me just write down wealthy, love, partner. Well, if I was to perceive myself as wealthy, I guess I would perceive it through my eyes as having $1 million in my bank account. Dollars in my bank account. That would be considered really wealthy. That would be really wealthy. But if I was to perceive this in my wallet, I'd say I have like a huge stack of $100 bills. Bills. Then I would be able to go on vacation whenever I want. Able to go on vacation whenever I have to take this call, guys. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hello.